I remember when I couldn't afford the parking lot of this hotel. Now they hold the corner booth without me asking. I can tell by the way the matron inclines his head before I reach the door that I have become the kind of man that rooms prepare a floor for. This is the season of arrival. Everything I planted now grows visible. Now bears the weight of what I granted. Every year of quiet discipline, every night of reading people, every withdrawal from a Washington, every climbing of the steeple. Feathers on the asphalt, that's the velvet throne. Feathers on the asphalt, feathers on the asphalt, that's the life I own. Feathers on the asphalt, softest thing on stone. Feathers on the asphalt, how far is home? Yeah, the code is real, the car is real. The orbit's what I built. Simone runs evenings, the pocket runs the guilt-free tilt of operation. Every piece in its appointed place. Every person in my world shows with open eyes and open face. I stand in rooms where the old ones used to stand and feel. The continuity is something like the floor beneath is real. Real in ways that money can't entirely explain. The old ones built this room and left it for the next man's range. Feathers on the asphalt, that's the velvet throne. Feathers on the asphalt, feathers on the asphalt. I didn't get here alone. Feathers on the asphalt, Raymond set the tone. But feathers on the asphalt, and the feather weighs a stone. Yeah. But tonight I caught a thing I couldn't name in Simone's eyes. The way she looked at me across the table like surprise. There's something in my face, some angle I had never shown before. Like she was looking at a version she had already seen the door. It lasted half a second. She replaced it with a smile. I found it in the pocket, let the evening run its mile. But something in the feather shifted slightly on the ground. The softest thing on stone makes no sound going down. And Raymond rest his soul and said the throne is coldest at the summit. The higher that the velvet drips, the more the wind can run it through the places that you didn't know were open to the weather. The man at the top is still a man underneath the leather. Feathers on the asphalt, that's the velvet throne. Feathers on the asphalt, feathers on the asphalt. Simone's look the tone. Feathers on the asphalt, something in the bone. Yeah. Feathers on the asphalt, the kingdom and the moon. I ordered something I could afford 1,000 times tonight. Ate it like I couldn't. Like the first bite was the right reward for something that the flavor lasts to be too long. The man who rushes past the moment of his living gets it wrong. This is the throne, the feathers in the asphalt and the boat. The glamour of the surface and the gravel underneath the coat. The softness and the hardness occupying the same address. The king who knows his kingdom is a temporary lease on blessed. Feathers on the asphalt, and the throne is real. Feathers on the asphalt, but feathers always feel. Feathers on the asphalt, what a strange appeal. Feathers on the asphalt, softest throne of steel. Yeah. Get some. There's a state that athletes know and soldiers know and mothers know. when the body's past the comfortable and past the vertigo of exhaustion. When you've crossed the line where quitting was an option, and the only thing ahead is the completion of the stoppage. I hit that state in month 11 of the double operation, the diner and the freelance in the 5 a.m. equation. I was running on the inheritance that pops had built in my biology. But even inherited machinery needs periodic apology.
Maximum occupation.
Every cell deployed.
Maximum occupation.
Nothing unemployed.
Maximum occupation.
The threshold in the void.
Maximum occupation.
What the peak has to avoid. Marcus saw it in my face before I named it for myself. Said, you're running at the red line, man. This ain't about your health. This is structural. The way your bridge exceeds his rating. He said it calm, like the diagnosis of a patient that's not waiting. I wanted to push back, say I'm fine, I know my limit. But Marcus had his napkin out and I was already in it. The math on month 11 showed the hours had increased. Got added scope without removing anything. The beast was feeding on my margins, on the 4 hours I've been saving, for the things that made the labor meaningful and brave. And the choice to family dinner, pops on Sunday, Linda's Tuesday. I let the work eat all of it and couldn't tell you which day.
Maximum occupation.
Marcus and the napkin.
Maximum occupation.
The margin that was cracking.
Maximum occupation.
The 4 hours missing.
Maximum occupation.
The life that needed listening. I went home that Tuesday night and didn't open anything. No laptop, no freelance, no planning or the suffering or productivity. Just sat with Linda at the table and told her everything, as honest as I'm able. She already knew, she'd been watching the trajectory, had given me the space to learn it for myself. Her victory was patience, not silence. She was waiting for the moment I'd arrive at what she'd seen 6 months ago. The opponent was not the poverty I feared or the ambition I was chasing, but the strategy itself. The pace was what was erasing the very thing the strategy was built to be protecting. And Linda saw it clear and gave me time for self-correct.
Maximum occupation.
Linda at the table.
Maximum occupation.
Patience enabled.
Maximum occupation.
The strategy's a label that cracks when it becomes the
thing you wear to be stable.
I made 3 calls the next morning, dropped the lowest paying client, rescoped the freelance calendar, decided to be reliant on quality instead of volume. Felt like losing, but Marcus called it pruning. Said it's how you stop from bruising. Every hour with the wrong thing at the cost of the right. The diner's enough right now, the rest will come to light when the light's not being blocked by everything you're chasing.
Maximum occupation
Ends when you start replacing.
Maximum occupation.
The prune and the reset.
Maximum occupation.
The morning after day.
Maximum occupation.
The 3 calls and the net.
Maximum occupation.
The best is not here yet. They're leaving something behind. After the kitchen floor at midnight and the dead I named out loud, I came back to the diner different, not broken, not too proud. Just recalibrated like the napkin math, but for the whole picture. Not just the hours, but the what for of each suture. I was stitching up a light, that's what I finally could see. Not just surviving until payday, not just being free. Of the dead I came from, I was building something actual. A version of the pop story, but revised and factual.
Sweat and blueprint.
The plan beneath the grind. Sweat and blueprint, the what for in the mind.
Sweat and blueprint.
The labor and and the vine.
Sweat and blueprint.
The leaving something behind. Pops had his blueprint too. I didn't know it as a child. I thought he just worked because that's what fathers do. Compiled into routine without intention. But I see it now in hindsight. The collar pressed twice, had a destination, had a flashlight pointed at a place he was walking toward for 20 years. The house, the retirement, the Saturday lunches, the frontiers of the life he wanted for his children. Every 5 o'clock was one more nail in the blueprint. Every day, one more block.
Sweat and blueprint.
Pops had always known it.
Sweat and blueprint.
The collar that would own it.
Sweat and blueprint.
The two press and the toning.
Sweat and blueprint.
The 20 years to hone it. Mims Evelyn's blueprint is the 37 years. The diner that became the neighborhood's most constant volunteer of normalcy. A place where Mr. Harold has his anchor, where the bereaved come after funerals and the grateful give their thanks. Her contribution isn't just the food, it's the continuity of place. The blueprint behind the biscuits is someone needs this space to be dependable. Someone needs to show up every morning, so the neighborhood has something that keeps warning. Off the chaos keeps some thread that we are still here humming. Evelyn's blueprint is the opposite of running. It's the decision to be permanent in an impermanent city. And that decision, made and remade daily, that's the gritty.
Sweat and blueprint.
Mims Evelyn's anchor.
Sweat and blueprint.
The neighborhood's banker of belonging. She's the prankster who turned a diner into something that'll outlast her. Marcus has a blueprint that he keeps inside his apron. He's gonna open his own place one day. I'm not aspiring to his dream, I'm just the station he's at while he's building. The freelance work I do at night is similar, a gilding of the foundation that already holds the weight of day. I'm building toward the moment when the side becomes the main. When the thing I do at night becomes the thing I do at morning. And the diner is the chapter, not the always and the warning.
Sweat and blueprint.
Marcus and his apron.
Sweat and blueprint.
The side that's slowly blazing.
Sweat and blueprint.
The night that's almost amazing.
Sweat and blueprint.
The morning that is raising. I went to see Pops on a Sunday, told him what I've been through. The napkin after pruning the deck, the Linda breakthrough. We listened like he always does, with his coffee without hurry. Then he said, the blueprint's just a love made visible, don't worry about the pace. The building takes the time, the building takes. A man who rushes his foundation always finds it breaks. Right when the upper floors are starting to look finished, just press the collar, pour it slow. The rest gets distinguished.
Sweat and blueprint.
Pops on Sunday morning.
Sweat and blueprint.
The love made into forming.
Sweat and blueprint.
The building without warning.
Sweat and blueprint.
The leaving something behind. The leaving something behind. Day night. 2 in the morning in the city still accounting. Every block's a ledger and the debts are always mounting. Not in money, in the favors, in the silences, in time. Everything out here gets paid in something. Draw the line. I've been up since 8 the morning, on the phone by 9. Meeting at the hotel at 11, everything was fine. Afternoon was smooth as the word. Then follow me to dinner. Late night is the hour when you separate the player from the beginner.
Late night installment plan.
Pay what you owe.
Late night installment plan.
The interest is slow.
Late night installment plan.
Everybody below knows that morning comes with what the midnight made you show. There's a girl named Simone who's been with me since since 22. She runs the evening like a general in velvet coupe. Collects, communicates, and keeps the temperature exact. The woman is the reason my operation stays intact. I never take her for granted, that's another commandment I keep close. The ones who think that solo operations always end up gross. Mismanagement of people is the fastest route to nothing. Simone gets what Simone deserves. The real ones get the something.
Late night installment plan.
Pay what you owe.
Late night installment plan.
Simone runs the show.
Late night installment plan.
The ledger's in the flow, and Simone always knew what the morning books would show. They say the game is glamour, but the glamour is the surface. Underneath this work is structured as a building with a purpose. The code is pressed the night before, the schedule's in the mind. The Mac who improvises at 2 a.m. is the Mac who falls behind. I'm at the week on Sundays, every night a different segment. Every person in my orbit gets a dedicated regimen of time. A presence of attention that is real and not performed. The ones who feel you're present even when you're absent. That's the form.
Late night installment plan.
Pay what you owe.
Late night installment plan.
The Sundays make it so.
Late night installment plan.
Structure is the glow. Underneath the velvet is the blueprint. None of them can show. Now it's 3 and I'm looking at the city through the windshield. Everything out there is somebody's effort, somebody's real deal. The hot dog stand on Central has been there since 87. Mr. Kim installed his plan long before I installed mine. That's heaven. That kind of steadiness, the compound interest of the present. Just showing up with everything you have, consistent and consistent. I watch the city hum with it, the discipline of ordinary. The late night installment plan is nothing more than daily dairy.
Late night installment plan.
Pay what you owe.
Late night installment plan.
Simone already knows.
Late night installment plan.
Mr. Kim, the flow.
Late night installment plan.
The morning always shows. Callus Cartography, and the proof they'll never fade. And the proof they'll never fade. Callus Cartography. Ray, read the map on Pop's right hand. 3 decades in the trades. The thumb tells one story, the index tells the grades of every job he worked from 22 to 62. A callus is the body keeping its own archive true. Right palm below the index, that's the hammer years. The ridge along the pinky, that's the winner in the gears of the factory on 7th where he stood for 15 seasons. Every hardened layer of skin has got its reasons. Callus Cartography, the body keeps the record.
Callus Cartography.
Nothing gets unmoored. Callus
Cartography.
the map, the work it makes.
Callus Cartography.
The proof, the
morning taste.
I have my own cartography developing in the years. The keyboard callus on my right, the early mornings here. The left palm ridge from carrying the briefcase up the stair when the elevator's broken and the meeting's right up there. Pops laughed when he saw mine. Said, boy, your hands look soft. Said a callus on the index finger barely counts his cost. I told him the inside work has its own geology. He squinted, then he nodded. Said, fair enough, apology. Callus Cartography. The body keeps the mark.
Callus Cartography.
The pops, the
different art.
Callus
Cartography.
Same effort, different spark.
Callus Cartography.
We're both working
in the dark.
There's a woman at the bus stop every morning at the 5:15. Her hands look like my grandmother's, the hardest hands I've seen. She's carrying a bag of things she needs for somebody's home. She's been taking care of somebody else's life alone. I never got a name, I got a presence, got a pace. Got the way she shifts the bag from shoulder with the practice grace. The cartography on her hands would be a different kind of reading, a different region of the map where other lives are needed. Callus Cartography. The city's full of maps. Callus Cartography. The bus stop and the labs. Callus Cartography. The woman, how she raps. Callus Cartography. The low bag. Never snap. Yeah. Pop showed me once how to tell what trade the man was in by looking at the pattern where the skin is thick within. The carpenter versus the mason versus the one in the office. The body always tells the truth about where the labor is. What I've been building in my hands these years is a hybrid map, a new world cartography that didn't used to have a gap between the ones who work with body and the ones who work with mind. The new world hustle marks you different, but it marks you in kind. Callus Cartography. The map is still being made. Callus Cartography. Each year, another grade. Callus Cartography. The debt, the labor paid. Callus Cartography. And the proof will never fade. And the proof will never fade. What's down? This is 6:15 on a Tuesday in the diner, still my own. Mim Severlin got the keys, but she lets me hold the tone. Of the morning, I'm the opener. I'm the one who sets the table. Before the world needs feeding, I'm the one who makes it able. She hired me 3 years back when my other check went thin. Said, boy, I need someone dependable. You look like discipline. I didn't know what she saw, but I showed up every Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and the weekend and the new day. Before the register opens, the world is just us two. Before the register opens, the flute is in the groove. Before the register opens, the prep work sets the truth. Before the register opens, the morning is the proof. Yeah, Marcus comes in at 6:30 for the kitchen start. He doesn't say good morning, he says let me see the chart of the specials for the day. That's his hello, his handshake. He's got a system and the system is the thing he won't forsake. We move around each other like we choreograph the distance. The coffee on by 6:18, the biscuits by persistence of Mim Severlin's recipe. She wrote it on an index card. The card is laminated now because the kitchen has been hard. On paper, heat and grease and the occasional dropped everything, but the card survives because Mim Severlin knows protecting. The knowledge is the labor too. Said the recipe is the deed. The restaurant is just the house built on what the recipe free. Before the register opens, Marcus at the stove. Before the register opens, Mim's Evelyn's trove. Before the register opens, the biscuit and the clothes. Before the register opens, the morning that we woke. Yeah, there's a quality of silence in the kitchen before service that I've never found a word for. Not exactly nervous, not exactly peace. It's more like readiness in physical form. The body knowing what comes next, the system at its norm. I wipe the counter twice before the first customer comes in, because the second wipe is for the customer. The first one is for him, meaning me, meaning the version of me that Pops would recognize. The discipline of doing what needs doing twice with open eyes. Mim Severlin unlocks the front at 7 on the number. The first customer is Mr. Harold. 40 years, no slumber. Of the habit, he was coming here with Mint Evelyn's mother ran it. Said the biscuits are the same, and that alone is worth the planning. Before the register opens,
Mr. Harold at the door.
before the register opens,
He's been here before.
before the register opens,
And Evelyn pour.
before the register opens,
And the day is ours once more. Catechism.
the coat, the coat, the coat, the coat, the coat.
Mink Catechism. Catechism. Mink Catechism.
Yeah. First commandment of the code, never beg the room to see you. If they can't feel your presence, you were never meant to be you in the space. The space demands a certain quality of quiet. The man who fills the silence with his ego starts a riot. Second commandment, know your territory's edge. The block knows who it belongs to by the way you hold your ledge. I've seen men cross invisible lines and act surprised at friction. The map exists in everybody's mind, it's not a prediction.
Mink Catechism. Questions and the answers. Mink Catechism. Saints and circumstance. Mink Catechism. You learn it or you scatter. Mink Catechism. The code is just a chapter.
The money is a means, never make it mean. The man who worships money tells the room just what he's seen, which is nothing past the surface of the floor. He can buy the room but never be what rooms are really for. Fourth commandment, and it's one that took me time to earn. Every woman in your world deserves the dignity she brings. She chose this life with open eyes. You honor what that means. The arrangement only functions on a foundation of respect. The man who breaks this commandment wears his ruin on his neck.
Mink Catechism. Questions and the answers. Mink Catechism. Some things are not enhancers. Mink Catechism. Fourth one is the dancer. Mink Catechism. Respect before the manner.
Yeah, your word is the only currency that can't be counterfeited. In every room I've ever been, my word preceded and outlasted it. The deal that fails but kept his word builds something. The deal did it. The deal that wins but broke his word already lost the thing it was given. Silence has a syntax, learn to read and write in it. A man who talks to fill the space don't know what space is fit for. The pause between two sentences is where the truth lives breathing. The practiced ear hears more in 30 seconds than a speech gives. Than a speech gives.
Mink Catechism. Questions and the answers. Mink Catechism. Sixth is for the dancers. Mink Catechism. Silence is the lantern. Mink Catechism. Everything that matters.
Seventh commandment and the last one for tonight. When the game is through with you, leave with the same dignity upright as when you entered velvet measured. No apology for having played. The Mac who exits gracefully is the Mac that's been repaid by something more than money, something the coke can't describe. The knowing that you lived inside the rules of something tried. Old Raymond never told me all the commandments in a day. He let me learn them one per year, the slow way
and the right way. Mink Catechism. And now I know them all. Mink Catechism. Some stood and some will fall. Mink Catechism. Hear old Raymond's call. Mink Catechism. The code, the hall. Mink Catechism. Mink Catechism.
still sleeping. Pops was already dressed when I came downstairs, creeping. He pressed his collar twice. First time for the crease, second time for something I couldn't name. Some kind of peace. He pour his coffee slow, no sugar, check his watch. Never said a word until the third sip, that was the notch. Between the night world and the day world he was building. And every morning I watched him walking to the ceiling. 5 o'clock, the city still sleeping, but Pops was always dressed, yeah, and never once weeping. 5 o'clock, the inheritance is steep. 5 o'clock, and I don't get to sleep. I was 12 when I first started waking before the alarm. Not because I had to, because the hour had a charm. I'd heard from Pops through walls, through years, through everything unsaid. The man who meets the morning first is the man who earns his bread. So I'd sit at the kitchen table while the sky was still deciding whether to be day or night. That gray between dividing, and I watched the street outside our window come to life. Mr. Harold starting his truck, Miss Patton to a night shift wife. 5 o'clock, the city's still sleeping, except the ones who built it. Quietly keep it. 5 o'clock, the inheritance is steep. 5 o'clock, and some of us don't sleep. Pops retired at 62 with hands that told the story. Every callus was a chapter, every scar a category of labor that he never once complained about. A name just showed up every morning, got it done and never claimed more credit than the paycheck gave. Said, son, the work is witness at the building doesn't lie about how far you pushed your fitness or will. He meant the discipline to show him when it's hard. The 5 o'clock when 22 degrees makes being warm seem barred from every option. Still he dressed, still pressed the collar twice, still poured the coffee so no sugar, paid the working price. And I inherited that hour like it was money in a wheel. The 5 o'clock alarm is popped, it's ringing in me still. 5 o'clock, the city's still sleeping, and I'm at the table where he sat, just breathing. 5 o'clock, the inheritance goes deep. 5 o'clock, and the hour's mine to keep. I got my own routine now, plus my collar like he showed me. The coffee ratio, we kept the cadence of the slowly moved hand, checking time, not from anxiety but ritual. The morning is a ceremony, and the ceremony spiritual. I think about what I'm building in the hours before the light. What the children sleeping upstairs will inherit from this night. Adjacent morning, will they catch me at the table and file it somewhere in their bones? Become the ones who able to show up when the world is quiet, when the choice is hard to make, when everything inside you says it's not worth being awake. I hope they catch me here at 5. I hope they see the collar, I hope they learn to pour it slow. It's worth more than $1. 5 o'clock, the city's still sleeping, and I am Pops, and Pops is in me keeping. 5 o'clock, the inheritance runs deep. 5 o'clock, the city's mine to keep. The Tuesday sermon. No. Tuesday sermon. Nobody writes songs about a Tuesday. Monday has the fear, Wednesday has the hump, Thursday has the end of week veneer. Friday is the obvious one, Saturday's the exhale, but Tuesday is the day the hustle gives you nothing but its tail. No holiday falls on a Tuesday, if it can help it. No special occasion, no excuse to let the belt sit loose. It's just the work, the raw, unvarnished showing up. Tuesday is the test of whether this is calling or it's stuck. The Tuesday sermon, nobody's preaching need. The Tuesday sermon, the Tuesday sermon, no one falls to their knees. The Tuesday sermon, Tuesday never guaranteed. The Tuesday sermon, Tuesday's what you are, not what you please.
Linda asked me once why I look different on a Tuesday. Said my jaw goes tight like I'm expecting something gruesome. I told her Tuesday is the day the week reveals its backbone. Tuesday either has it or the week will crack and groan. She said that sounded like a lot of pressure for a weekday. I said maybe every day should feel like there's a stake laid on the line. She laughed and said I need a vacation. I knew she was right and wrong at the simultaneous station.
The Tuesday sermon.
Linda at the table.
The Tuesday sermon.
Love while you're still able.
The Tuesday sermon.
The jawline and the label of a man who made his hustle his most
Permanent fable.
What I notice most on Tuesdays is the quality of traffic. The people on the bus look different, more deliberate, more graphic in their purpose. No one's coasting on the residual weekend. No one's dreading Friday's absence. We're just here and that's the deep end of the week, the bottom of the pool, the actual temperature of what a life of labor feels like at its truest aperture. No filter from the novelty, a start of the relief of close. Just the middle of the week and all it's unadorned verbose.
Tuesday sermon.
Middle of the pool, the Tuesday sermon.
The Tuesday sermon.
Nobody plays it cool. The Tuesday
sermon.
The week's most honest tool.
The Tuesday sermon.
And Tuesday went to school. Pops used to say the serious ones do their best work on a Tuesday. Said anybody can perform on Friday for the display. Said the Monday ones are still riding weekend confidence, but the Tuesday man is just the truth without the ornaments. I carry that across my Tuesdays now. I think of him at 4:15 when the afternoon starts going dim, and everything in me would rather be at home with Linda. But Tuesday hasn't finished with me, and I'm not the kind to hinder.
The Tuesday sermon.
Pops inside the workday. The Tuesday
sermon.
Linda, hold the doorway. The Tuesday
sermon.
4:15 the gray. The Tuesday
sermon.
Tuesday is how I pray. Tuesday sermon.
And the pocket never lies. Yeah. And the pocket never lies. I've been in enough rooms to know when something's off the level. When the smile's too wide, when the handshakes got too much treble. When the man who's usually quiet starts performing for the corner, that's the pocket talking. And the pocket always warns you. There's a feeling in the game that has no language in the English, like the air before a storm, except the sky's still distinguished. Not a word, not a gesture, just the temperature of knowing that somewhere in your orbit something steady is eroding.
The pocket never lies,
even when the players do.
The pocket never lies.
Feel it move and follow through.
And the pocket never lies.
The pocket never lies.
On an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, the pocket told me something's wrong. Yeah, and told me to leave the room. I've been dealing with a man named Washington from Frisco. Said he had connections northbound, everything was Crisco. Smooth as the marimba on a late October Sunday. I clocked him in 6 meetings and I couldn't find a one day where his eyes matched what he said. That 2% of friction, the pocket amplifies the smallest inconsistent fiction. I let 3 more weeks pass, kept my face like still water, kept my ear to the pulse while I played the model partner.
The pocket never lies,
even when you wanted to.
The pocket never lies. The pocket never lies.
Washington seemed true.
The pocket never lies.
And the pocket said to move through before the room reveals what the
pocket always knew.
The exit was polite, that's what most people miss. The amateur burns the bridge and wonders why the river's this empty of the traffic that it used to carry. The practiced hand withdraws so clean the room still wants to marry you when you return, because you left him with that dignity. The art of the withdrawal is a form of your integrity. Washington found out through circles that I'd step back with grace, and years later sent an apology. He been playing the wrong face. All along the pocket knew it, I had known it too. The question is never what you feel, it's what you're willing to do. But the information that your bones have been collecting in the spaces between sentences, between meetings, in the reckoning.
The pocket never lied. In the pocket knew him then. The pocket never lied. The pocket never lied. But patience is the pen. The pocket never lied. The pocket never lied. We circle back again. The pocket never lied. In Washington said amen.
The lesson in the pocket is the lesson in the body. Every man who gets this far has learned to read the lobby of sensation. What the gut says when the mind is still translating. The practice Mac acts on the gut, while the rest are still debating. I sat that night with Simone in the booth at Jerome. She said you look like something found its way back into its home. I said the pocket spoke. I listened. Washington is done. She nodded like she felt it weeks ago and hadn't said a one.
The pocket never lied. Simone already knew. But the pocket never lied. The pocket never lied. It spoke to her too. The pocket never lied. The pocket never lied. On a night in October, that's cool. The pocket is the classroom, and we graduated school.
Velvet in the rearview. Velvet in the rearview. Yeah. First time I rode through Crenshaw with the windows down. The city laid itself out like a woman in a gown. Every streetlight was a chandelier. Every corner had a name. I didn't know it yet, but I was stepping into somebody's game. The radio played something slow. The bass was in my chest. I watched the Macs move like they never had to rest. Purple coat, gator shoe, and knot that cost 1,000 words. I filed everything away, my education without verbs. This the entrance, velvet in the rearview. It's the entrance, and the city's always been true. Stepping through the smoke in the late night avenue. Velvet in the rearview. Now the game is studying you. Old Raymond on the corner with his coffee and his cane. Told me once the smoothest moves are born from slowest pain. Said the city's got a memory, she remembers every face. Every man who ever rushed or lost his standing in his grace. So I learned to slow my walk down. Let the silence do the work, let the suit do the talking while I stayed alert. Watch the pattern of the money, watch the pattern of the eyes. The player who sees everything appears to be surprised. This the entrance, velvet in the rearview. This the entrance, and the city's always been true. Old Raymond said the slow ones are the ones who make it through. Velvet in the rearview, she's watching what you do. I sat in the corner booth at Jerome's on the boulevard. Ordered something I couldn't afford and played the afterword. Studied every handshake, counted syllables in every laugh. In this world, the amateur shows his hand in the first half. There's an art to looking like you've seen it all before. Like the room you're sitting in is just another floor. Like the velvet on your jacket was already there when you were born. Not a costume, just the weather that your bloodline always wore. This the entrance, velvet in the rearview. This the entrance, and the city's always been true. Jerome refilled my glass without me asking. He already knew. Velvet in the rear
drive home felt different, like the asphalt had a voice saying every man who enters here is made a permanent choice. The radio still playing something smooth and saxophone adjacent. I look back once in the mirror at the life I was vacating. Crenshaw in the rear view, all that velvet in the glass, felt the future pulling forward and the present faded fast. Everything old Raymond said was settling in the bone. When you're in the game for real, the city is your home.
The entrance,
Velvet in the rear view. This
the entrance.
and the city's always been true. Everything I thought I knew was just the lobby, not the room. Velvet in the rear view, and I'm past the point of noon.
There's a way. Yeah. There's a way a man sits in a room that tells you everything. The angle of the shoulder, how he holds a minor thing. I've been studying rooms since I was 14 with nothing. Now the room adjusted me, that's not bragging, that's becoming. My father pressed his shirts at 5 before the sun could look. Said, son, the world reads covers, so you better write the book. I took that and I ran it through a decade and a half of miles. Came out the other side with a philosophy and gator style. The way the smoke curls, that's me. The way the smoke curls, patient, deliberate, free. The way the smoke curls on a Tuesday at 2:45. That's the science of a man who learned to let the world come to he. I don't chase, I position, I don't beg, I listen. I don't enter any room that I haven't already been in. In my mind, 3 moves ahead like chess on velvet. Every word I say out loud is 50 that I felt and held with. Dorothy used to say I had the eyes of a much older man. Said I looked at people like I was reading where they stand. I said, Dorothy, I learned that from the corner, from the weight, from the years of watching how the patient ones accumulate. The way the smoke curls, that's me. The way the smoke curls, nothing forced, everything free. The way the smoke curls, through the lounge on West 23, Dorothy, she understood, she saw the geometry. Now the code is real, the car is real, the corner booth is mine. The handshake got a history, the nod carries the bloodline. Every woman in my orbit chose with eyes wide and clear. Nobody dragged into this life. They came cause they could feel what's here. Not the money, though the money speaks his language in this town. Not the car, though the car announces when I come around. It's the stillness, how I never seem to need the room to know I'm there. A man who's truly comfortable in his skin is genuinely rare. The way the smoke curls, that's me. The way the smoke curl, took a decade just to see. The way the smoke curl, through the years that made me free. If you asking how I got here, that's the only receipt. I've been wrong before, I'll say it, cause the game demands humility. The arrogant ones get taken by their own ability. I watched kings get the throne for thinking they had finished growing. The smoke curls still, because the smoke don't care about you knowing. What I know is that I know a little less each year I'm in, and somehow that's the knowledge that keeps letting daylight in. My father's shirt was pressed before the sun, I understand that now. Every crease was him saying, son, I'm teaching you the how. The way the smoke curls, that's the sermon. The way the smoke curls, that's the burning. The way the smoke curls, through the room while the jazz band's turning. Everything I am is in the patience of the learning. There's a way, a way, a way, a way, a way, a way. There's a way, a way, a way, a way, a way. There's a
First time I rode through Crenshaw with the windows down. The city laid itself out like a woman in a gown. I didn't know it then, what I was entering, what I was given. I thought the game was something you acquire. Turns out it's something living that breeds and takes and offers and revises without warning. That gives you velvet evenings and extracts the mornings. The version of yourself you were before the code existed. The game is patient and it waits until that version's list.
What the code left behind?
A man who knows the city.
What the code left behind?
A man past certain pity.
What the code left behind?
The beautiful, the gritty.
What the code left behind?
Was it worth the pretty? Raymond rests the corner where he stood as someone else's now. A young man in a new coat doing Raymond's quiet vow of watching, learning, filing, letting silence do the work. I almost went to tell him what I know, but stopped before the irk of unsolicited transmission. Raymond never gave it free. He let me earn each commandment through the years of what I'd see. So I drove past and let the young man have his education the way the city always has, through watching and through patience.
What the code left behind?
Old Raymond in his cane.
What the code left behind?
That first ride in the rain.
What the code left behind?
Tamara on the train.
What the code left behind?
And she was not to blame. Simone still runs the evening. She's the one who kept the structure. When I was in the grief of Tamara and the ledger and the rupture, she never asked for more acknowledgement than what I was already given. But I gave her more because a man who's truly living knows the difference between managed and beloved, between the orbit that you run and what the orbit's made of. Simone deserves the truth of what she means inside this operation. She's not the mechanism, she's the reason for the station.
What the code left behind?
Simone and what she gave.
What the code left behind?
The dignified, the brave.
What the code left behind?
The smooth, the underground, the
What
grave.
the code left behind?
I'm still learning what to say. I drive through Crenshaw now and see the windows of the city. The chandelier street lights, the women and the pretty. Terrible mathematics of what living in this world requires. Some nights I still reach for the velvet and admire what it represents. The discipline, the stillness, the code. The years of watching rooms like I was memorizing road. The pocket that told truth before the truth became apparent. The code is in the closet, but the coat was always transparent. To the man beneath who started with a drive and open windows, who watched the max move slow and learn the tempo, who is still in some essential way that man on Central, just older, just quieter, and with something more than mental.
What the code left behind?
Was most of what I know.
What the code left behind?
Was how to watch things grow.
What the code left behind?
Was how to let things go. First time I rode through Crenshaw, the windows in the glow.
And the city still sleeping, but I'm not at the table anymore. Keeping vigil over the plan. I'm sitting here breathing, just being, just no longer needing to count the hour as a resource to deploy. The 5 o'clock tonight is just a boy who grew into a man who learned to measure and finally learned to let the morning be a pleasure. When the body rests at last, the house is still. When the body rests at last, the morning has goodwill. When the body rests at last, the quiet doesn't fill with obligation, it's just still. The diner's doing well, Miss Evelyn gave me more responsibility, which means she's training for the door. She wants to leave it to the ones who know it in their bones. I think she means me and Marcus, she told us in our own private conversations, in a way of saying things sideways through the work itself, through what the morning brings. She'll say the biscuit recipe is in the card, you know where it is. That's a will, that's a testament, that's all she needs to give. When the body rests at last, it never ends passing on. When the body rests at last, the recipe lives on. When the body rests at last, the 37 gone. In wonder what comes next, the next two, the next dawn. Told me last week he found a space on Central. Small needs work, the kind of project that is quintessential to what he's been building in his apron for 3 years. I'm gonna help him with the numbers. That's what this morning clears time for. Not more clients, not more hours in the dark, but Marcus on his corner, getting to his mark. The blueprint, helping another blueprint get its footing. The hustle that I learned is good for more than looking after my own house. It's good for being useful to the Marcus who is ready to the circle that is fruitful with ambition. Pops taught me through his collar, and now the collar teaches forward, dollar by dollar. When the body rests at last, Marcus on his corner. When the body rests at last, I'm no longer a mourner of the hours that I spent. I'm the former and the warner of the next man at the table, the next 5 o'clock learner. Linda's asleep upstairs, she knows I'm sitting here. This is my 5 o'clock now, not the labor, just the clear and quiet of a man who knows exactly what he's building and can sit inside the blueprint without needing or gilding. Pops is 68, still presses collar on a Sunday, still pours his coffee slow. I called him just last Monday, told him I understand the 2 press now. The patience in the gesture, he was quiet for a moment, then he said, that's the semester I've been waiting for you to complete. Now go and teach it. 5 o'clock is yours, make sure the children reach it. I don't know yet what children, but I know the hour. The 5 o'clock in city sleeping in the tower. 5 o'clock in the city still sleeping, but now I know why we're here, why we're keeping the quiet of the morning, why the hour has its reason. When the body rests at last, it's finally the season.
Dip to the morning.
The morning always showed up, I give it that much credit. No matter what the night was, the morning never vetoed his own arrival. 5 o'clock came whether I deserved it, whether I had earned the day or barely surfaced. I've been answering the morning for as long as I can measure. I've been treating it like debt, like every dawn is pressure to produce, to justify the hour of my breathing, to make the morning's investment in me worth its reasons for believing.
Get to the morning.
What do I owe?
Get to the morning.
How far does it go?
Get to the morning.
The 5 o'clock glow.
Get to the morning.
What the morning helped me grow. Yeah. There was a night in month 12 when I came home at 11, and Linda was already asleep, and I sat in the kitchen, heaven of quiet, and I thought about my father pressing his collar, and I understood for the first time what the cost was per dollar of what he built. Not the house, not the retirement, not the savings, but the Linda of his life. My mother's patient waiting through 20 years of 5 o'clocks and double time and Tuesdays, and how she told me once before she passed, son, I prayed for is easy.
Get to the morning.
And the cost is human.
Get to the morning.
And the Linda who is blooming.
Get to the morning.
While I'm somewhere zooming.
Get to the morning.
Past the life that's assuming.
cannot lose Linda in the fog of the achieving. I cannot let the hustle eat the very thing I'm breathing for. The point, the purpose, the person in the kitchen, the woman who said yes to all of this before the pitching of my strategy, my 5 o'clock, my collar, and my coffee. Who chose me before I chose the grind, and never once was sloppy. With her love, she spent the cleaning, deliberate and present. While I was somewhere counting hours, she was being excellent. The debt to the morning is not to the clock or to the labor. The debt is to the human cost, to Linda as my neighbor in this life. The one who shares the 5 o'clock air with me. The one who sees me press my collar and lets me be free. Debt to the morning. The debt is to the Linda. Debt to the morning. The debt is not the grinder. Debt to the morning. The debt is the the debt is what's behind her. I sat in that kitchen for an hour by myself that night. Then I walked to where she slept and told the dark, I'll get it right. I'll get the balance right, not perfect, not resolved in a moment. But I keep the morning honest. That's the thing I owe it. The morning gave me pops, and pops gave me the discipline. But discipline without direction is a storm inside a mandolin. Beautiful and pointless, Linda gave me the direction. Every morning that I wake is a renewal of the section. Debt to the morning, the kitchen and the hour. Debt to the morning, the storm inside the power. Debt to the morning, the pops inside the tower. Debt to the morning, and the Linda is the flower.
When the ledger bleeds, when the ledger bleeds.
Yeah. The morning that Tamara left, she didn't say a word. Just left a note that said, I chose myself, and that's the 3rd commandment I had taught her. And somehow it turned around and became the sentence that I made the only solid ground. I stood in the empty room and heard the furniture agree. The chair, the lamp, the curtain, everything was free of me in ways I hadn't calibrated for or priced. The ledger kept this record, and the ledger never lied. When the ledger bleeds, it bleeds your name. When the ledger bleeds, it isn't just a game. When the ledger bleeds, the code don't look the same. When the ledger bleeds, you wrote every claim. When the ledger bleeds, yeah. Tamara was the one who saw me before the code existed, who watched me build the thing from scratch and never once assisted, except with the presence, which is more than most give freely. The woman witnessed every version, and she chose her own sincerely. I don't fault her, that's the truth, and I'll repeat it clean. The 4th commandment, every woman in your world, I mean it, deserves the exit when the exit is a right in her conclusion. And Tamara exercised the rights, I'm left with the confusion. When the ledger bleeds, it bleeds your name. When the ledger bleeds, the silence comes with rain. When the ledger bleeds, Tamara's on the train. When the ledger bleeds, whose ledger takes the blame? When the ledger bleeds, I thought the game was all I needed. Game don't hold you back. Game don't show up at the hospital. Game don't cut the slack. Game don't remember what your laugh sounds like at 6 in the morning. Game is always running, and the runner doesn't get a warning. That the thing he's running from is actually the thing he built. The coat, the car, the corner booth, all threaded through with guilt. That looks like gold until the light changes to something honest, and you see what the velvet cost beneath the compound promise. When the ledger bleeds, it bleeds your name. When the ledger bleeds, the code absorbs the flame. When the ledger bleeds, you built the whole damn frame. When the ledger bleeds, the ledger knew your game. I called Simone that night from the hotel on Wilshire. She listened for a long time. All my pauses, all my pillar. Collapsing sentences in the spaces where Tamara used to be. Simone said nothing for 2 minutes. Then I know I see. You built a kingdom for the version of yourself who needed proving, and the woman who loved you before the proof kept moving toward a life that had a you before the throne inside it. You have to decide if you want the throne or if you'll fight it.
When the ledger bleeds,
Now Simone holds the frame.
the ledger bleeds,
She called it by its name.
when the ledger bleeds,
The code is just a
when
claim.
the ledger bleeds.
Tamara caught the flame.
When the ledger bleeds.
After Tamara, and I'm back in the Cadillac. The city doesn't care about your grief, it only has the knack of continuing regardless. Streetlights still do their rotation. I take Crenshaw South and let the drive be my coronation. No crowd, no ceremony, just the flute loop on the radio, and the understanding that a man who chose this life should let it show. Not in the coat, not in the corner booth at Jerome's, but in a steady way he handles what the choosing costs at home. Satin Coronation, no one crowns you but the choice. Satin Coronation, no applause, just your own voice. Satin Coronation, and the city makes a noise. Satin Coronation, like it always has the poise. Simone called at 7, said the evening's running clean. Said she's holding down the orbit like she always has, serene. I heard something in her voice I hadn't calibrated yet. A kind of quiet pride in being someone who won't let the structure fall, because the man who built it's in his grief. A loyalty that operates completely past relief of gratitude or recognition, just because the thing is worth it. Simone is more than orbit, she's the reason this ship surfaced. Satin Coronation, and Simone holds the rim. Satin Coronation, built on more than whim. Satin Coronation, honoring the hymn. Satin Coronation, the light inside the dim. I've been crowned by loss before and worn it like a feature. Every time the game extracted something, the extraction was the teacher of the very thing I needed for the next and harder level. Every tomorrow that departs refines the remaining metal. So I drive with both hands steady and the flute beneath the bass, and I feel the city breathing through the windshield on my face. Not the city of the game, the city of the actual. The mothers walking grocery bags, the schoolboys making factual arguments about who's faster. Mr. Kim still at the window. The ordinary world that holds the game world like a pillow, holds the sleeping, and I'm grateful for the softness underneath. The satin of this life is borrowed from the ground beneath the wreath. Satin Coronation, wanna drive through ordinary. Satin Coronation, nothing legendary. Satin Coronation, what the chosen have to carry. Satin Coronation, February or January. The Cadillac comes home, I sit a minute in the dark. The engine picks itself toward fire like a settling remark. at the end of something, all the way from Crenshaw South to here. From the first time I rode through with the windows down last year to now. The code, the pocket, the commandments, the women who came and the woman who chose amendments, the kingdom, the Simone, the Raymond, the Tamara, the flute, loop, the asphalt, the pocket, the manner of a man who's in the middle of the life he chose and built. Satin Coronation, no ceremony, no guilt, just the tick of the engine in the city at the window. Satin on the asphalt, and it's time to go in slow.
This ain't the season for the weaker constitution. Spring came early and the avenues need resolution. Everybody wants to talk about the throne, nobody wants to earn it. Everybody wants to fight, nobody wants to learn it. I was sitting in my Cadillac on Central at 7:45, watching who was walking like they knew the estimated weight of every step they took. See, posture tells a story. Some walk like they've arrived, some walk like they're still sorry.
It's choosing season,
And the choosing one is me.
it's choosing season,
Nothing's free, but some things agree.
it's choosing season,
Spring on Central, light breeze.
it's choosing season.
Watch out slow, the practice I can see. My man Cornelius had a saying about selection. Anything worth having has already passed inspection, and it's on mine first. The confident already chose to be the kind of person that the right kind of person knows. So when I say choosing, understand the choosing goes both ways. The woman in my circle chose this life on her own sovereign day. Nobody stumbled in the velvet by confusion or by faith. They walked in knowing, and I walked in knowing. That's the way.
It's choosing season,
And the choosy one is me.
it's choosing season,
Recognition, not a plea.
it's choosing season,
The flute is on the breeze,
it's choosing season,
and Cornelius would agree. There's a girl on Figueroa who's been watching for a minute. She's smart enough to know the room and curious enough to be in it. I clocked her 7 weeks ago. She clocked me too, I know. We've been circling like it's jazz.
waiting for the outro.
That's the choosing, patient, mutual. Nothing forced or frantic. The amateur mistakes proximity for something more romantic. The practice I know's timing. Let's the melody resolve. Let's both parties walk away knowing what they each chose to involve.
It's choosing season,
And the choosy one is me.
it's choosing season,
Patience is the strategy.
it's choosing season,
7 weeks of geometry. The girl on Figaro finally made eye contact with me. She walked over like she'd already decided on the destination, like the whole approach was just a formality. Appreciation. Shook my hand like a businesswoman, firm, no games. Said I've been watching you watch me. You both want the
same things.
I respected that more than anything 100 words could do. The woman who knows her worth and states it, that's the avenue. The choosing season closes when two players find alignment, and the spring breeze carries both of them toward the same assignment.
Choosing season,
And we both already knew
it's choosing season,
the Cadillac, the avenue, the two.
it's choosing season,
And Cornelius, rest in peace, he knew.
it's choosing season,
And the chosen thing was true.
Invisible, yeah. Mims Evelyn has been running that diner for 37 years. Nobody counts the hours she puts in before the customer appears. The ordering, the scheduling, the managing of what goes bad. The invisible accountant of the everything she's had. To fix before the Tuesday breakfast rush could even start. The vendor call at 5 a.m. The math that falls apart when delivery's short and she has to reroute the specials on the fly. Nobody sees that, only the diner's essentials.
Invisible overtime.
The work before the work.
Invisible overtime. Invisible overtime.
The labor in the murk.
Invisible overtime. Invisible overtime.
Nobody counts the hours.
Invisible overtime. Invisible overtime.
The unrecorded power. She told me once that when her mother ran the place, the books were kept by hand in the composition notebook face of every transaction. Said the notebook was the truth. The numbers never flattered, never hid behind the booth of explanation. Said her business is her body and the vitals are the numbers, and the cook who runs it shoddy. On the invisible, the prep to check the order, finds out the hard way that the margin has a border.
Invisible overtime.
Mims Evelyn's notebook.
Invisible overtime. Invisible overtime.
The mother's careful look.
Invisible. Invisible overtime.
The margin and the cook.
Invisible. Invisible overtime.
The 37 books. I started keeping my own notebook. After that conversation, every invisible hour that I worked without notation, I tracked it for a month. The prep before the shift starts, the research after hours, the calls that fall in between parts of the official workday. It came to 61 hours and 30 days of invisible.
61 invisible powers.
Of labor that the paycheck didn't see and didn't pay. And I'm not bitter, but I needed to locate and name the day. The naming was the claiming. Once I saw the number real, I could decide how much of that was mine to freely deal to the employer, and how much was my investment in the learning. The knowledge that the invisible accrues was what I was earning.
Invisible overtime.
The notebook and the hour.
Invisible overtime. Invisible overtime.
61 in power.
Invisible overtime.
The claiming and the tower.
Invisible overtime.
The knowledge is the flower. Yeah, Miss Evelyn said something that I wrote down on the index of that month of counting. She said, son, the visible is context for the invisible. People tip the server, they can see, but they're really tipping 37 years of Mims Evelyn's debris. Of preparation, every policy, every practice, everything that makes the visible seem effortless and factless to the customer who just sees eggs and coffee biscuit. She said the tips for me too, even if they didn't visit.
Invisible overtime.
Mims Evelyn's tip.
Invisible overtime. Invisible overtime.
37 grip.
Invisible overtime.
Customers sip.
Invisible overtime.
It's building at the lip.
Invisible.
Hours minus 8 for sleep, that's 16. Minus the commute, that's 14 and a half. You know what I mean. Minus the diner shift, that's 9. Minus the side work, that's 4 for everything that makes a life work.
double time is not romantic in the slightest. The calendar fills up before the week is even brightest. Monday through the diner, evenings on the freelance, trying to find an hour for Linda for the balance. Double time mathematics, the numbers never lie. Double time mathematics, double time mathematics. The calendar don't cry. Double time mathematics, 4 hours left to try.
Double time mathematics.
Double time mathematics, and still the morning's night. Marcus asked me once how I was holding everything together. Said from the outside it looked like I was fighting all the weather at once. Like every front, I picked my zip code for its landing. I told him the math works if you're precise about your standing commitments. Every yes to one thing is a no to 6 others. You gotta know which yeses keep you, which ones smother the thing you're actually building underneath the grind. I said this like I had it figured. Marcus raised an eyebrow, refined. Double time mathematics. Marcus at the stove.
Double time mathematics.
Double time mathematics. The yeses and the trolls. Double time mathematics. The eyebrow and the nose.
Double time mathematics.
Double time mathematics. The math that Marcus wrote. He wrote it on a napkin, which is very Marcus. Said, here's your actual hours, man, I want you to face this. Drew a pie chart on a diner napkin with a Sharpie. Each slice labeled sleep, travel, diner, freelance party. I stayed at what was left, a sliver about thumb width. Said I should like, he said everything else is growth myth. I took the napkin home and taped it to the mirror. 4 hours, that's the thing you're actually steering. I called it the meridian, the center of the actual. The 4 hours where you choose the tactical and factual movements of a man who's not just working but becoming something past the hours, something worth the humming. Mathematics. The napkin on the mirror.
Double time mathematics.
Double time mathematics. The meridian, the clearer. Double time mathematics. 4 hours in the mirror.
Double time mathematics.
Double time mathematics. The calculations dearer. I started being surgical about the 4. No passive hours, no scrolling through the static in the post-shift hours of exhaustion. If the 4 were going somewhere, they were going somewhere real. To lend it to the stairway of the thing I'm actually building, not just maintain, and not just keep the neat existing structures from complaining. The double time is not a life, it's a season with a purpose, and the purpose is to justify the cost beneath the surface. Double time mathematics. The season and the purpose.
Double time mathematics.
Double time mathematics. What the 4 hours furnish. Double time mathematics. The napkin and the surface.
Double time mathematics.
Double time mathematics. Marcus drew the purchase.